Mic test, mic. Oh, there it is. We'll be starting here shortly, y'all. Had a little technical issues with my microphone, but I got it going. Just give me about 1 or 2 minutes, and we're gonna get started. Mm, nice quiet day so far this morning. Everybody's just kind of getting ready for Fed time. Woohoo! All right, you know what? We're just gonna go ahead and start. It looks good. What's going on, y'all? It's the Z Rex. No noise. We are live today. It's March 22nd, 2023, just past 9 in the AM. Hope y'all having a lovely hump day. It's pretty crappy weather over here in central Texas, but hey, we could use the rain, so that's good. Fill up the lakes, they're really low. Let's get ready for summertime. Maybe we can get some of that monsoon or whatever the hell they're calling that crap over in California. Hey, anyway, we don't care about that. Let's talk about price and the charts. Oh man, let's see here. So today is Fed Day. I know everyone's super excited. It's amazing. It's the best day ever. They will be talking about 1 o'clock. No, at 1 o'clock. Sorry, they'll release the Fed minutes, and then they usually have meetings and other stupid crap, whatever. But the important rate decision does come out at 1 in the PM Central Standard Time. So you can tell markets are definitely anticipating that. Everything is just kind of chilling, real tight inside of the previous days, just kind of posted up. Even all the majors are like super flat. Look at this. Like literally, they're almost dead ass flat, 0.01%. Let's zoom in and just kind of see. Yeah, everything is just super, super flat. I imagine it's going to be like this until 1 o'clock. It's going to be kind of uneventful till then, because this is probably a more important one than usual, just given the environment of all these lovely banks that have failed. I'm sure you've heard about it. We don't have to go over all that crap, but pretty interesting. Man, on this, I just noticed we got a green candle back above the trend line. Interesting. Well, we'll get to that in a little bit, though. But let's start over here with the more important stuff Mama Bear, aka Bitcoin. So we're still getting some nice follow throughs so far. I'm not expecting this to break out over these highs before the Fed meeting at about 28.5. Let's see. Let's zoom in or zoom out a little bit on the weekly. Yeah, and then let's zoom in. Man, look at this. Hey, you shut your mouth, alarm. Yeah, kind of just bull flagging up here on the RSI, so that's kind of sexy looking. Bulls definitely do have the dominance still on the lower time frame and also on the daily. So, I mean, this still looks really good. I do like this kind of drift up pattern. Those generally do resolve to the upside. The only way that I'd change my mind on this if it lost like 26 and a half, then we'd probably go back and test the 24,000 handle. But I don't think we're going to get any kind of significant price movement until 1 in the PM today. And we're like smack dab in the middle of this next little range between like 24 and this about 31 and change. So, man, it's literally right in the middle of it. But pretty nice rallying up to right up under major resistance, which was that 28,000 to about like 31 and change. Mega resistance there for bitty bits. You can see that real clear on the weekly before the breakdown, and all these tails on all these candles are right at 28,000, pretty much 29, really. We can round it up. But whatever, the 28,000 handle is serious resistance. If we start closing even some lower time frame candles up above in there. And we do have a couple small ones right here, but I mean, it's only like $90. So that's, I guess that counts. But more significant, like where we are kind of now, which will be in the next hour, we could potentially get one. So we start closing a few of those. I would look for this to get continuation to the upside. And the next target on this, as long as we hold about 26.5, is going to be 31 and change. So I know a lot of people will be excited to see bitty bits in the Bitcoin up above 30K. Now, is this an aggressive ass pump? Yes, it most definitely is. But that's kind of what happens off of bump and run type patterns, which this is a pretty textbook one right here. And it's kind of just a fancier term for when it finally bumps over a trend line that it's been battling for a while. And this is a very textbook one. Breaks out here, comes back, tested, immediate follow through by the bulls. So this is definitely a pretty good looking one. Most definitely like that. But, you know, Daddy Fed coming to talk here soon. Anything can happen on this. I think the consensus is like a 25-point hike. I don't remember. But I think that's what it was. Full power, and we're already disconnecting. That's just freaking wonderful. God dang, dude. This is so stupid, Spectrum. You were lame. Although someone told me that even though it was dropping and disconnecting, that on the restream, like he rewatched it afterwards, and it played fine. So I don't know what the hell's going on. Freaking Spectrum. And I think it's TradingView. You know, they're still kind of new at this whole streaming thing. So, but anyway, enough about that. Let's see here. So bitty Bitcoins, 26.5. We'll probably get the resolution, I would imagine, later today. What are futures doing? Pretty much the same thing. Nothing really to add to the discussion there. GBDC kind of just hanging out at the tops. Looks like it's right underneath this gap. It is. Man, so if we get a little pumpage, we probably will fill this gap up to almost $19. Dang, all right. Let's see. We have already filled the gap on Bitto. There is another tiny one up here at like 21 handle. So we start getting pretty serious. We probably got a decent chance to reach up into there. And then that'll be the next mega resistance on that chart is at about $22. Let's go to Ethereum. I like this candle yesterday. Tuesday's close is actually pretty good. I like this attempt by the bears right on mega support level, previous resistance in the mid 1700s. And then we get a engulfing for the last few days. So that's actually pretty sexy. That is the bulls defending and confirming that 1740s is a very important level to them. So as long as we're above there, I have no reasons to think that the trend is compromised for the upside. Let's look at the weekly. Nothing new on the weekly. We're not going to really get anything new on that till the end of the week. Let's go to the Ethereum futures. Got a lot of resistance, probably around 2K. A little tiny baby gap over here. We got the baby gap at around 2,500. That's probably getting a little bit too excited for that one. But hey, you know, it is crypto. Crazy shit does happen. This is interesting that Litecoin ain't able to get anywhere. Kind of just stuck between the long and short term moving averages. I generally don't like to take trades in this zone. This one's a little sloppy. Let's zoom out a little bit. Yeah, it's definitely a little bit sloppy. It's like, oh, it looks great. If you're bullish biased, and you're like, oh, it looks great above about, upper 70s. But then if you're bearish, you're like, oh, damn, this doesn't look that good below mid 80s. So it's literally both. It's very neutral at this point, we could say. We do have kind of a little trend line right here. It's not a really great one, but yeah, we'll just leave that off for now. Again, most stuff is just going to follow Mama Bear anyway. Kind of like Ethereum. Ethereum Classic has a nice bullish engulfing against here. So that's pretty cool, kind of defending the higher lows and higher highs on a daily. So we definitely clearly got that at this moment. we do have a little trend line, something kind of like that. Again, between the two moving averages, though, super tight, a little bit underneath all this consolidation. And if we extrapolate this red box right here, which was just the range box of all of this price action, we barely entered it, and we're attempting to get in there, but we do got a lot of pressure with the mama and the 200 right there. So kind of this is a little more neutral. XRP just said suck it yesterday. Nice bump and run off of this, just kind of slowly dribbling down. And dude, 25% just yesterday alone. So that's pretty nice. I'm sure we saw that spill over to XLM as well. Let's see here. Yep, weekly looks pretty damn good here. Like it. I likes it. This actually looks, and that was the upper head resistance was 42. It just blew through it. So now we are above that. So as long as this is holding above 42 pennies, this does indeed look pretty sexy. And again, if you are new to the channel or not, just to reiterate how important this indicator is, it's the historical volatility. It pretty much creates the VIX on anything that you load up into your chart. And you can see that it fired off right over here, and it usually precedes very large moves. Now, it is directionless, so you can't just blindly buy or short. You kind of have to use some structure or whatever. Oh, what the hell? Sorry. I need to put my phone over here. We don't need distractions. It kind of, you need to like look at structure and all that to kind of, add to it to give it a little bit of directional bias. But you can see, nice move here. This looks really good above 42 cents now. Let's see, XLM, yep, also getting a nice pumpage. Not as strong as XRP, only about 11.5 pennies. Little Caleb's baby coin isn't as great, but it does look super good above 9 pennies. Let's see if that can transpire to the weekly, because it got a lot of work to do on the weekly chart. Until it really got back above 10 cents, it's a little weak sauce, and you can see, too, that this daily, let's zoom back into the daily, you can see that literally went almost to the tick at 10 cents, 0.0998. What is that? 0.0002 pennies away from getting to 10 and got rejected. So 10 is definitely confirmed as mega resistance overhead. But as long as we're floating above about 9 cents, man, we start creeping into 10, probably even on like a 3 hour. If we could even get that on a low time frame, I would be looking for this thing to probably go to 11 to 13-ish cents. Then we'll kind of have to reevaluate there, but that's like kind of the next spot on this chart. If bulls wanted to just get a little crazy, I would not be surprised to see them hit about 14.2, which is the bottom of this blue box here. TR to the X. What are they doing? I like this. This is a flag right here. Very nice flag, except I can't pick my drawing tools correctly. There we go. You got this little flag action. So if this plays out, we got a little measured move somewhere around here, about to 8 pennies. That could be pretty sexy. And let's zoom out a little bit. That would be a pretty good confluence with lots of overhead resistance from this descending triangle, which did not transpire. It attempted to transpire right here, but immediately was rejected. And now we're back atop it and looking fairly damn good above, lower sixes on this. Looks fine. I guess we could bump that up to mid sixes, because if it lost like 6.5 at this point, that would be pretty nasty. Oops, sorry, just slapped my mic there. Let's erase that and erase that. I already got enough shit on my charts. Very neutral. There's a big move coming here. When you see this kind of real tight DMI price action like this, when it's kind of like exactly the same line, you usually get pretty large moves out of nowhere from that. So again, with the Fed coming up and yapping and yappity away, we'll see what happens there. The daddy Fed, so lame. I wish the Fed didn't exist. That would be great if they just dismantled them and they went away. They're like, oh, we're here to keep price stability and keep inflation under control. Well, yeah, they haven't done a real great job about that. I think since the Fed's inception, the dollar's lost like 97% of its value or something. Great job. Great job, guys. Way to go, Jay Powell and Janet Fuckboy and all this other crap. Let's get this trash out of here. All right, anyway, I don't want to go on a Fed rant. I'm pretty sure everybody hates the Fed. I don't know anybody that's like, oh, yeah, daddy's the best. Anyway, DOT looks pretty good above 6 cents. Can't hate it too much. Back in the middle of the previous structure, so that looks pretty good. ADA, pimp it, baby. Nice 11% move. This is back into structure as well. We are getting some follow through here. And like we talked about the last few videos, if the longer Mama Bear stays above 25K and gets comfy up there, we're going to start seeing these altcoins get a little bit crunk and serial to the upside. So, man, crunk. When was the last time you heard that? That's aging myself a little bit. Anyway, yeah, so this looks real good above about 3.5 cents. I do like this. Let's go to the weekly real quick. Yeah, weekly still needs a lot of work, kind of like a lot of these altcoins. Oh, Linky Poo, what are you doing? Link is just coming right back up to the upper side, man, to the upper west side. Or I guess it's actually the upper east side on the chart, right? North, east, whatever. So above $8, man, that's the level here. It just really struggles. Anytime it gets above $8, pretty much for almost an entire year, it gets immediately rejected. So will it break its trend this time? Only time will tell. And we do have a pretty serious trend line right there. It is very vertical, but as of now, it's holding up. EOS. Hey, this actually looks pretty decent. Back above all of the structure. It's actually higher than a lot of its structure. It's above every single one of these EMAs and MAs and all these indicators. They're literally stacked within, man, you do not see that often. They're all stacked within 4% of each other. So as long as it's holding this little range between like pretty much 110, give or take, a nickel, it looks pretty damn good. As long as it's holding that about 110 range, I would look for a continuation. Obviously, there is major resistance right here at about 135, but so far this actually looks pretty good. BCH, yeah, it's trying. We got the recross. We're attempting to slope up again. Right here, you can see the EMA is starting to point up. The 200's ever so slightly trying to angle and slope up. It is still below this trend line and kind of all this business at about 140-ish. So kind of just in a range between 120, 140. BSV is getting rejected every time it comes up to the bottom of this purple box for the last week or so. Just every time it's just getting slapped. It can't even get above the 21 EMA. Pretty lackluster. Craig is just continuing to be a bitch here. At some point he won't, but right now he still is. He is until he ain't, right? XMR, I'm sure y'all, and to be fair, the Fed has probably reached out and spoke to almost every one of these coin projects at some point. So I don't know. I saw him respond to something saying it's just some FUD and it's not really that big of a deal. So probably not. Whatever. We'll see, I guess. That'll kind of just come to fruition at some point. The market doesn't seem to give a shit about it, so that's cool. And as long as this is above, 148-ish, it still looks okay. Just really chopping sideways here. And this is an interesting pattern on this. It's like head and shoulders-esque. But yeah, I don't know. As long as it's holding 148, looks okay. Really got to get over that mid 150s, man. Zcash kind of looking like BSV, looking kind of like a bitch. Just can't really do anything. Went to this horizontal about $30, found support there, but I mean this is actually like one of the worst looking charts in crypto land. I mean, what the hell, Zcash? I guess Rhett's going to have to come out and pump this and make Bitcoin private 2.0 or some crap. And that'll, if you know about that, then congrats, you've been around the game for quite a while. If you don't know about that, that's a guy named Rhett tried to fork it, and he's known for forking and doing scams pretty much and making himself very wealthy off of that. doing Bitcoin private. It was the newest, coolest thing. But whatever. Forker is going to fork, right? All right, let's look at Dashy Poo. Nothing there. Does have good support though, I guess at $52. But trapped between both the range and right underneath previous structure. It's tough. Any good momentum on either way. There's eventually, probably after today, it'll break this little momentum range. But until then, I'm just gonna wait. Love yesterday's candle, very nice. Tuesdays pretty much engulfed the previous, week, a little bit over a week. So that's actually pretty good, back above the 21 EMA. So I do like this above about 7.4-ish. Looks pretty sexy. Let's zoom in just a tad. It is kind of making like a sloppy ascending triangle on the lower time frame, so that looks pretty good. I do like that. This kind of does look like a false breakdown right here. And usually when you get false breakdowns, you get price action pretty swiftly to the other side of range, which would be all the way up here, probably in the upper eights. And we start getting comfy above the upper eights, we'd be breaking the daily mama. We'd get over the 200. And if it stayed up there for about a week, we'd get all the EMAs starting to cross back up. So, it doesn't look too shabby. Let's go to the weekly real quick. Weekly's whatever. But so for the daily, pretty nice. Good defense at the devil's. It's got the devil's reject right here. Look at that. Very nice. STX making new highs. Really struggling to get over this 120, like mid 120s. You can see the bears have been slapping price on these candle wicks for the last 4 days. So it's looking a little bit heavy up here. Let's zoom out a little. Yeah, but there is mega resistance, to be fair, right? Exactly pretty much where it's getting rejected, around 130, kind of splitting all the business of its all-time highs back in 21. God, that's crazy. It was all the way back in 21. Jeebus. Time be flying. But still looks really good above $1, though. Still looks really good above $1. I would only treat everything as liquidation breaks for the bulls until we get sub $1, and then I would start to question the strength. True. Is it being true to the bulls? No, not really. We're actually getting a little bit of rejection on today's candle. They attempted to pump it. Man, this is actually a pretty larger move. That's 11%. Yeah, that's not great. That's not a great sign for the true. It's not being true here. What the hell? Still okay above like 7.5. Let me zoom back, look left here. Yeah, I guess as long as it's kind of floating around here, 7.5 to 8, it's all right. It's not bad, and it's still technically a higher low from this structure. Not so much from here, so that's kind of bad. That's a little bit, not sexy price action for the bulls, but we are above the mama. We're attempting here, so at about that 7.5, 8 pennies. As long as it's over that, it's okay. Not the best looking chart though. Hex says, "Suck it. We're going past 10." Dude. This thing has just been almost no sell-offs except for this little blip here, which it's not actually a little blip. It's hard to tell on this because the candles look so shitty because the liquidity on this is kind of garbage. But that's actually a 50% move. But anyway, pumping like a mofo. Richard Hart is, I guess, just going to take this bitch back to the moon. This thing is freaking looking pretty strong. We do have major resistance, though, at about 12 pennies, somewhere in the 12 penny handle. So maybe we get a little stall coming up here. But shit, man, pretty impressive by Mr. Hart. HNT is defunct now. What the hell? I guess they took it off of hit BTC. Well, let's try to find it somewhere else. Man, this chart looks terrible. Actually, this is the winner of the worst chart in crypto, dude. Look at this thing, man. And what a cool idea, too. It's just ain't working, man. Yeah, them not leaving Solana and being wrapped around some of the fraud crap with FTX and all that, I think it's really hurting them. but and their chart is terrible, dude. This is really bad. This is just in black hole mode. I mean, there's no way to slice it or look good. I mean, maybe if you got balls of steel this low right here at like 113, but I don't know, man. That's risky AF, dude. So pretty shitty for helium. That sucks. I like mesh networks. I like the idea of that. Looks like the market says you're trash. So pretty nasty. We are in black hole abyss price discovery mode. When will this stop? I don't know. I think there's a longer chart somewhere. Let's see. Ooh, the HNT Premium Index. Oh, I guess it shows this is a stupid chart. What the hell? I'm not doing anything with that garbage. Let's go to OKX. Probably has decent charting. Yeah, dude. Brutal. In abyss mode. VeChain. Just kind of chilling here. Real tight price action between all the EMAs. At least these are a little bit closer. They're only about, 6-7%. But looks okay. Above about 2.2, but major resistance at, about 2.5. So kind of like every other chart looks like for the most part. I'd say 80-90% of them look like that. Atom kind of just chilling here. Is it going to make a higher low here? Potentially. It actually is below all the EMA, so this is a little bit weaker chart than your average. The only thing is it's attempting to make higher low, and it is above the trend line so far. So as long as it's holding about $11, it's okay. Osmos, terrible. Slope, everything sloped down. I mean, this is actually a pretty crappy looking chart. Sub like 79 cents. It starts to go the way of helium, and I'd look for probably 70 cents, maybe even 69 cents possibly. But I don't know. I think that's getting maybe a little bearish on this, especially just because Bitcoin is above 25K. So I'm actually surprised this hasn't been able to do anything. Maybe this is a sleeper. Maybe this bitch is going to pop real hard out of nowhere here after this Fed week. I could definitely see that happening. I actually might take a position on this because the risk is like less than 10% on here. If you just enter it in from right now, yeah, I mean 8 even to the wick or to the tail low is only 8%. So there's not many chances that you get in crypto where you can enter in 8% or like single digit risk, and then your reward to this is at least probably 2 to 1. I mean, I'd be looking, if this was actually going to break out, I mean, I'd be looking for at least a test up into this range somewhere, which could be 2 to 3 to 1, depending on how you kind of slice it and your risk tolerance there. Yeah, so that's interesting. I might take a nibble on that one. TON bouncing off the trend line here. Is it going to make it? Isn't looking pretty sexy. It kind of is. I kind of like this. Everything's sloped up. TON coin has had relative strength against the entire crypto sector for a long time. Probably a year at this point. And so this thing should perform very well if this market's going to really start going. And how can we maybe get a little target action for this? We can use a little bit of fibs. So let's do that right now. Little fib extensions. And let's not take it from the tops. Let's take it from kind of this middle range to about, we're going to be a little conservative, to about right there. I mean, maybe we can go to the bottom. We'll go about right there. And so 1618 is generally a good target to hit on these. And, that's right at the tops of here. So that has good confluence. I would be probably looking for that pretty easily if we just got above like 250, 290-ish definitely comes into the cards. And if this bull market really gets going, the next target is going to be up here around the 2618, which is about 350. So not too shabby, man. Good morning, Sir Hell Buick. Oh, I'm glad you like hearing my trade ideas, man. Appreciate you joining me. That's awesome. That's all I'm trying to do is just present ideas and just different things and experiences that I've had in the last decade or so of trading, which is very difficult. I wish I would have gotten to communities and stuff earlier when I started instead of being a little stubborn, thinking I know it all and all that shit. And the market will humble you if you have that attitude. That's for sure. Because I know it did me. Not just once either. So I've definitely blown up a few accounts. All right, let's get to the majors here because we got the Fed coming up. Ooh, yay. So back up into the trend line. That's nice. And, we were talking about this pretty much all over the last week that we are making a higher low still. And now we're actually breaking the trend line from this way, getting back into the trend line. Yes, the mama's right above it. So you already know that 4080 area. 4080 is no freaking joke on this price action. 4080 is very established for mega resistance here. First it was about 4,000 when we were down here. So we got above that. We're stretching pretty good, but sub 4080, you still got to be very cautious. But so far, this is looking fairly decent on the higher lows aspect. If we go to Das Weekly, yeah, I don't know. A lot of people are calling this an inverted head and shoulders, but it's not a very good one. And just for technical purposes on inverted or just head and shoulders patterns, up or down, whatever, the flatter they are, the better they perform. The neckline, that is. When they're down or sloped more, sometimes they're sloped a lot. The performance of them gets drastically reduced the more they're sloped. And so this one actually had a pretty steep slope for the neckline. So the flatter they are, the better on head and shoulders. That's just a quick little tip on head and shoulders patterns. And also, real quick to the chat troll box, if y'all want to me to look at any tickers, please do throw those in there, and I will get to them momentarily as we wrap up the latter half of the list here. All right, so above 4K looks pretty good. I imagine, though, after the Fed talks, we're going to get some gnarly swings. We usually get big, just 1-2%. What the hell? I don't want my drawing tool. Get out of there. We generally do get, one in this market lately, and for the last 6-7 months, we get these 1-2%, 30 to 1.5 hour swings, like 30-minute to 1.5 hour swings. They just keep going up, down, up, down. It gets pretty gnarly. Let's go to this 3 hour real fast. Hey, the 3 hour looks pretty good. Above 4K, man, you can't really hate this chart too much. And just like NASDAQ, we were watching this for a while, that 12,000 and the 12.3. As soon as we got over 12.3 on this hammer candle, it just decided to say, suck it. I guess NASDAQ and tech stocks are the safe havens from the banks or something. I don't know. I think this is surprising quite a few people, especially with this right here. If you look left, we got this little rejection. We've got this little rejection over here and a few times of support testing before the breakdown. So this is the next contention level, which is pretty much about 13K. We can just use 13K as a nice whole number. So we are pretty much at the extent of this rally. And it's funny that it's right before Fed Day that we got here. Pretty interesting. So pretty much after today, I'm looking for this thing to either go ahead and say F it and go test 13.3 over the next week or so. Or I'm sorry, not because it can't. Well, I guess it can do both. It could pump up there and dump. Or kind of come back down here into this little cluster right above 12K. So it'll be very interesting. I usually don't care about the Fed rates, but I'm just real curious what they're going to say, especially since we've had some banking turmoil, if you will. So, hey, this has looked really good, surprisingly. So, but we are at the major resistance level at about 13,000. The Dow kind of just hovered right here. It is back above 200, but look where we're at. We're right at that 32.8 and change, the 32.8 handle, and we have just stalled out so far. Funny, we're just rallying to major resistance levels. There is mega resistance at this spot on this chart. I mean, you can see looking left, we've got the lower highs, we've got the lower lows. I mean, this is pretty much a downtrend, a pretty well established one. And the only way I'd start changing my mind is if we got comfortable pretty much above 33,000 and ultimately would have to take out this local high at about 33.5, which is our next horizontal kind of little bracket, little price bracket zone there, which has been respected very well, as you can see on this chart. Horizontals, man, learn how to draw horizontals. I think they're one of the most superior, simple ways to do TA. Because oh, there we go. There we. I was like, why is this not zooming? Because the trend lines are pretty subjective, right? Because you can draw them kind of like however you feel like it. There is a pretty clear one right there, but they can get a little bit subjective on those. So, all right, let's see here. The rut. The rut is this is actually a pretty good takeoff yesterday, but again, mega resistance right above. It's like we're rallying all to mega resistance. And if you're looking left, you can see where my cursor is. I'm all pointing at the screen like an idiot. Like, oh yeah, you see me pointing at the screen? Oh, that was silly. I just had to share that with y'all. Um, you can see here about where my cursor is looking left on the horizontal that, there's a lot of chop fest here and here and here right around this 1800 level. So far, the Bulls did defend that mid 1700s, which we were watching like a hawk. And we got this kind of indecision doji with a little bit of follow through today. But given that, again, one more thing has rallied to major resistance. You know what else is in that camp too is crypto, which is pretty interesting. It's like everything's trading in lockstep right now. Dow, nah, not so good. Just kind of camping out on the lows. This is actually still pretty firmly bearish, below about 1420. Well, 14200, but we got to meme it out. So nothing really there. DAX trying to come back over here. Is this some kind of desperate pump before the selling really gets going? Oh man, it very well could be. If we got back below 15.2, I'd definitely be looking for that. I would be looking for probably a breakdown of these lows if this gets back below 15.2 on the DAX. All right, what is China doing? China is just still in the range, the green box of sideways prosperity. Nothing really new on that. VIX, look at VIX though. VIX got monkey hammered the last couple of days. We're back below 22, which we were talking about. We talk about that a lot all the time on the show. That 22 seems to be like a pivot point. You start getting above 22, you got to watch out. You get back below 22, yeah, well, bulls are starting to regain their Momo. And also VVIX is in that same boat, except 100 is the level on that. So you got the doji on 100, and now we're getting a little push through. Now this doesn't close, for another 5 hours. And given that the Fed's coming to talk here, Mr. Daddy Powell is going to say some stuff here in about 3 hours? Yeah, 3 hours. And I like closes, open and closes below these ranges too. I know y'all hear me say that all the time. So is this just retesting the 100 breakout level? Oh man, pretty interesting price action across the board here. Cautiously bullish again. Oil, look at this lovely bounce off of the mid 60s. That was major support we were talking about, except we can't see it because of this stupid wick. Hold on. And the 200 and all this business over here kind of splitting it. You can see the test here, you can see around here, and you can see contention here. Very nice. And so now we're getting the same thing over here. Let's zoom in a little bit. Now there is major resistance though right here at about 70 bucks, 70, 71 bucks. Well, let's just call it the 70 handle. So in the 70 handle, we do have mega resistance. We start getting back above there, it probably comes back in this box and likely would just play around and chop fest 3,000 in the blue box of indecision because we've been in there for quite a while. And if this is a false breakdown too, and we get comfy up in here, an open and close above 73, I would consider this a false breakdown, and I would be targeting the other side of range, which would be all the way at 80. That would be an interesting move. And unfortunately, that might correlate with some kind of war news or something that might not be so great. Nat gas, well, it's filled the gap now. We were looking for a little gap fill on the I got to go back to log. We were looking for a gap fill on Monday's show. We got the gap fill now. What will they do from here? What will the Nat Gas Bulls do from this range? They lose 218 again. I mean, we probably start going into death mode. black hole mode, whatever you want to call it. Because I mean, look at this. We're already like below all of this structure, and the next spot below that is way over here. And you know what? Let's go to like a different chart because they just changed that recently. So if we go to this one, which actually still only has 5 years, from Pepperstone. What a cool name. No, I don't like that monthly. Let's go to the weekly. Back to the weekly. There is pretty good support around here. You can see this cluster, and almost tested here. So yeah, this is very serious for the Bulls right now. The Bulls have got to defend this 212-ish area on that spot price, and it's about, oh, I'm sorry, it's about the same. So 2 teens. We'll just call it the 2 teens. If it starts getting comfy back in the 2 teens, uh-oh. All right. Rallied up to resistance. Look at this, man. Trapped between long and short-term moving averages. Don't like it, man. I do not like. This is just tough, man. And this makes sense because the Fed's coming out to talk about shit. They're like, oh, wait, are we going to stall on the rates? What? I don't know. Confused. What's happening? So everybody waits on Daddy Fed. Ugh, it's disgusting. Free markets, whatever you want to say that saying is. Anyway, same thing on the 10-year, kind of just right in the middle of this too. Short and long-term moving averages, man. And you can even see up here on the volatility, dude, I think there's a very large move coming. It's a coming. TMF is actually in a descending triangle. This is a triple leverage instrument for the Treasury Bull. Pretty nasty here, man. It does have this gap. We fill this gap. We probably go back and test here. This doesn't officially break down, though, until you get another open and close below here. So what you did get kind of here, and you can see it rejected immediately, went to the other side of range. So now we're right back in the middle of the range. What will happen? I bet we get some resolution today. TNX. Oh, good old TNX. Sub 370. You know, it's kind of in confusion because we were using this as a pivot. We were using this. Is that like one word? I don't know what that was. That's some country Texas talk, I guess. 370. We start getting back above there. Probably means rate hikes are getting more pumpage to them. Probably get resolution also on this, I bet, this week. Dollar kind of just floating around here in the $1.03 range. Nothing really too interesting with that. Really until it lost like 102.5. Then we can start talking about some bearish momentum. And obviously, Euro is going to be the exact opposite of that, kind of in the same vein. Let's go to gold because gold's pretty important. Hi there, Casey Lewis. Hope you're having a wonderful hump day today. Good to see you, man. Let's see here. We got pumpage. Look at this. Nice pumpage. Right to 2K. Rejection so far. But is this just a liquidation break and testing this previous breakout zone in the mid-low 1900s? It very well could be. It very well could be. This weekly does look pretty good. And I cannot really get bearish on this until we lost. We'd have to lose like 1880s again for me to start getting bearish on metals. So, you know, this is technically a higher high now. We got higher lows. We got higher highs on a daily. We got that on a weekly now. On the immediate structure, we don't have it quite yet on the long-term structure. It needs to be above pretty much 2,000 for that to happen. So we'll see how that transpires over the next week. But the daily is building pretty good. Silver's way weaker than gold. I mean, by a long shot. It's not even above its previous price structure from early in the year, and it's still below the trend line. So it's kind of being a little biatch right now. And it is just below all of this mega resistance in the 22 handle. If we could just get a daily open and close above 23 pretty much, I would look for it to move up and test this cluster up here and then kind of see what happens after that. Here's another iteration of the historical volatility flash. You can see a free indicator, y'all. You can literally just get this on TradingView. Just put in HV historical and it'll pop up. Bally Poor makes, I think, the best one if you want to add that on your chart. All right. Platinum is slowly grinding up here. I do like this above 950. Still looks good. Really needs that daily open close above 1,000, kind of like 23 for silver and 2,000 for gold. So we get that, man. These things will probably start running hard. Palladium's actually trying to base here. Look at this. Look at this. All right. So this is kind of bulls defending this 1375 area. So, I mean, you've got this attempt by them and then the attempt by bears to bring it back down, and we're getting defended today. So this actually looks pretty good. I would say we have the best chance of a little mini counter trend rally here if we stay above about 1380-ish. Can maybe ratchet that up to just like 14 flat. Make it an easy number. GDX, just kind of chilling. A little confused, trying to break back out of the mama, but still mega overhead resistance at 32. I'd also like to see that with the prices we just talked about on gold. So 2,000, 23, 1,000, and 14. So we stay above all that and get this above 32. That would look really good on GDX. And on that note, let's go to actually the blockchain stuff. Let's go to our blockchain miner index. This is our GDX index pretty much for crypto. And oh, look, here's another vol flash with some selling. You can see it right here. And there's about a 20% move right there. Vol flash move. Bam. Shit ain't no joke, y'all. We are right up a major resistance here too at about 320s. Let's see. Sloppy weekly pattern. This doesn't really have a name. It's just kind of consolidating. Maybe you can call it like a sort of a basing type pattern. It is pretty sloppy. It looks more kind of like a rounded bottom, maybe on a daily. You could kind of draw that with this as the center of the bottom. But anyway, this looks fairly decent above 270s. I don't have an issue with this until it lost about 270. I do like that all the EMAs are starting to curl up on this retest. We do have a little tiny gap right here, a little baby gap. But other than that, we kind of just stay above that 270-ish area. You know, this does look pretty good. Next spot after a what is this, about 320. If we can get an open and close on a daily above 320, I would probably look for a test and to fill this gap right here at about 370. So that'd be a pretty good run. All right, I think that's it for the regulars. Let's just go tap and check the sector majors. Everything is probably going to be pretty flat, chilling. Yeah, everything's just waiting for 1 o'clock. So, yeah, how funny. How about the top traded? Oh, here's interesting. Look at this. This is a reverse bump and run type pattern. So there's bearish ones too. They're not just bullish. And so this is actually a spot. I'm not going to do this, but this trade and on some stuff is, especially just before the Fed, I don't like to really take big trades or do anything before that. But this is actually a really good shorting spot for Apple because you have, so if you flip it, right, this is bump and run basing pattern. You're like, oh, dang, this is perfect. Like, this is a sexy long right here. This is like exactly what you want for long. This is a perfect entry, about 8% risk there. But obviously, this is for the short side, so we got to flip it back over. But same thing, bumping and running against here. Generally, these do get sell-offs. It's one of the best performing patterns out of all patterns pretty much that exists. And look at this, right to the freaking trend line cross. So, man, maybe after the Fed, I might take a little short on this. We'll see kind of how the market feels after that and how it kind of accepts it. But these patterns are really good. And if you want to look up pattern sites or pattern formations and all that, there's a really epic site called The Pattern Site by Thomas Bulkowski. It's the best, pretty much, pattern site that exists. He's pretty much regarded as the guru of patterns and all of that. So, and the site is really cool. It's like an old school 90s website or early 2000s if you're into that style. But yeah, you can go in there and spend hours on there just reading charts and seeing all their performance, and he ranks them and all that kind of stuff. But the pattern site, all one word, it's one of the best resources for learning patterns. And you can do it at your own pace. I got a nice glossary, easy peasy to look at. But anyway, this is definitely a decent shorting spot for that. All right, I don't see any tickers in the troll box, so that's cool, making it easy for me. So I'm just gonna wrap it up and go have lunch with the kiddo. Fed Daddy's talking later today. Oh, we're almost testing. Okay, look at this. We're getting a little pumpage here at the end of the stream. Why, hello. Almost to 29K. We actually now do have a higher wick. Well, look at that. We'll all be dipped. That's pretty damn sexy. Looking nice. We're getting that fall through again above 20, above kind of this cluster here in the pretty much 27-ish, 26 and a half we were talking about earlier. Looks really sexy, man. Until it lost that, I don't see anything concerning for the Momo at this point. Very nice. Again, holding 26 half, 27 for short term looks pretty good. Longer term, as long as it's holding 25K, I ain't got no problems with this structure. Looks very sexy. Oh, and here's the bump and run actually on Bitcoin. We actually had that. Boom. Here it bumps up, bump, runs along the trend line, and then ba-dow. Very sexy. Very sexy chart. GPI. Oh, we can go check that out real quick. So yeah, very nice here. Long macro term, as long as we're above 25, looks great. Short term, about 26 and a half, it's fine. Ethereum, as long as it's above mid 1700s, looks great. And that's going to be the same for macro and short term because we just haven't taken out. Oh goodness, hold on, let's zoom out a little bit because we haven't really taken out some of these clusters over here like we have on Bitty Bits. And then traditional markets, that 4080 and about 4,000 until we're out of there. NASDAQ, y'all know what it is, 12.3. And we are at major resistance at about 13K. So that's pretty much the big boys. Let's go look at this GPI one. What do we got here? Oh, automotive. I love car stuff. I actually do cars on the side. So that's nice. Okay. Group 1 auto. I actually do not have this on my auto list. I'm going to add this to my auto list. Thanks for sharing that, sir. Or maybe I do. Let's see. Nope, I don't have it in there. Do I have it in auto parts list? Nope, I don't have it in there either. So we're going to put that in normal auto because it looks like it should go in there. GPI. See, this is a good thing about community. Whoops, I didn't want to see all that crap. So we can help each other out, find things. There's always a bull market somewhere. All right, 232. What are you looking for, like resistance or like a target or something? Or what are you thinking? But for me, let me read this real quick. Let's zoom out because we got a lot of data. Oh, man, automotive stocks, guys. If y'all don't know, automotive stocks, water stocks, utility stocks, Hershey's specifically by itself. I actually have a basket. I'll share that on Friday stream. There's like a little basket of stocks I want to buy if we do get a mega crash because they just pretty much go up and to the right no matter what. But anyways, I digress. Man, this actually looks really good above 200 bucks. I have no problem with this chart. Maybe like monthly on this, can't we? Man, this monthly engulfed up here. Yeah, monthly supports 190s, weekly supports 190s. How about the bi-weekly? Bi-weekly supports 190s. It's a little bit heavier right here just because it's back between the long and shorter term moving averages, and this is just on the daily. On the higher time frames, above 190 handle looks great, but you can see a little bit of dribble here. And to be fair, the car market is getting hurt a little bit right now. Some of the auctions I'm seeing are just getting super low prices. And with the rates and all that kind of stuff, they got a little bit of headwinds. We do have a little trend line that's kind of formed there, and you can see how trend lines are a little bit subjective. You could draw this like here, you could draw it here. I kind of just draw it where I can get most of the touches. It's not a science, but you do have this nice trend line. So either this trend line break or like the 190s handle, it starts getting comfortable in there. Does look pretty good. Obviously, that major resistance level is 232. Okay, yeah, I could see that because that's a test of this little cluster. But I wouldn't even target that until it got above like 217. It would need an open and close for me above 217 on a daily to target that if I was trading that. I love this though. Right off the 21, everything's sloping up. So pretty strong looking chart, man. Not too shabby, sir. Not too shabby. All right, guys. Much love. Appreciate y'all tuning in today. Happy hump day. Fed talks at 1. Get that shit out of the way. It will be interesting, though, to see what they say about all this banking turmoil and if they end up pausing or whatever their rhetoric is for the meeting and all that shit. So we should be getting some price resolution on some of this stuff here relatively soon. So probably this week because we're at real big pivot points all over the place on almost everything we looked at today is at major pivot points. So let's see if some of those break or we get continuations, whatever. We will probably know by the end of the week, and I think definitely by the end of this month. We only have one more full week for the month, so and we'll do monthly charts next week for sure because those are always important too. So much love, guys. Appreciate y'all tuning in. It's been Z-Rex with No Noise signing out. Peace. You're very welcome, Mr. Hellbound. Or